Make sure you subscribe if you are new to the channel, and we're going to have a great show today. This is just an incredible news day. In fact, it's one of the best news days ever. But my computer froze, so we've got to reboot. Nope. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I'm just setting up. Hey, guys. Yeah, I use I have an iMac I use. All my computers are Macs. They last longer. All right. Hopefully it won't freeze up this time. My browser froze up. Well, thank you. Glad you like the shirt. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. Gotta go grab a couple things. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and we'll be live in a few minutes. Gilbert Glenn, Knoxville, Tennessee. Awesome. Knoxville, welcome. There we go. MAGA's back in business, that's for sure. Wait a second, I'm missing something. How could that be? There. Okay, I'm just setting up, guys, still. Bear with me. Okay. Oh, yes. I was talking earlier. I'm wearing one of my hats of wisdom. This is a Make America Great Again hat that's been seen by Trump with his own eyes. And I always feel just a little smarter when I had this, in the flow of the show seems to be better when I'm wearing one of the hats of wisdom. Okay. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We got to get the show started before we take calls, but we'll be live in a few minutes. I'm going to lead with the Adam Schiff story. See, I was talking on the stream earlier this morning that, the lawfare is being handled and taken care of by Trump, the swamp draining, at such a sophisticated level. It's really amazing. It really is. Yeah, here's my Trump 2028 hat. I'll put on I've got a bookshelf filled with Trump hats. I have so many Trump hats. Oh my goodness. I have more Trump hats than anyone else that you know, except the guy that owns the company that sells Trump hats. You can never have Too many MAGA hats. We have about 10 minutes before showtime. That's right. How many MAGA hats do you guys have? I don't know. I've got at least 10. More than that, really. These are my cats here. Coca-Cola, hey Coca-Cola. Just doing a couple little household chores here before the show. I usually do this before I stream, but all right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay. We'll be live in less than 4 minutes. Welcome, everyone. Now, those of you that are new, when you see the green screen here, you don't get to see the articles that I'm going over, see the videos I play, or hear the audio sound bites that I play. You get to see and hear me, obviously, and you get to hear the callers. And if if you want the full effect, you got to go to the other stream, which I will start right before we go live. And if you want to call in, the number to do that is pinned in the chat. We will be live in about 2 minutes. this is a great day. This is a great day. Can't help but be excited about everything going on. How could you not be excited at everything that's happening? Exactly. Everything's going so well. The swamp draining is happening at an unprecedented level. We got about a minute and a half, a little less than that. When the show starts in about a minute and a half, I'm going to go through it all. Welcome. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. Tomorrow, I'll be at the radio station. JP, welcome, welcome. As a fan, super fan. Here we go. Oh man, we got him. Adam Schiff in big trouble. My name's Brian Craig. What a great day. What a great day, people. We were celebrating all day yesterday. We're going to celebrate today. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 49 years on the radio, and we're going to jump right into it. So, New York Post headline, Feds investigating Adam Schiff for alleged mortgage fraud after Department of Justice criminal referral. I'm going to go through the details of this. This is what you got to understand what's going on here. President Trump is draining the swamp in so many different places. I'm going to go through some of them here early on, and then we'll get deep into this Adam Schiff story. We'll talk about a lot of other things, too. A lot of other things happening in the news, including the story with Howard Stern. I want to comment on that later. But there's swamp draining that's going on right now. Number one, all of the panicans out there, the fake MAGA, the liberals that pretend to be MAGA, or the Republican establishment people, or just the doomsayers that feel like losers all the time, that are always doom and gloom, who say, nothing's going to happen. Nothing ever happens to these people. They're all going to get away with it. Those days are over. Not only is it happening, it's happening in so many areas, it hasn't even sunk in to the minds of most people that the swamp draining injustice is happening. We've got Adam Schiff on the mortgage fraud. We're going to go through that in a moment. We've got the Pam Bondi grand jury for the Obama coup conspirators. That's huge. That's huge. Huge stuff. That's taken down the establishment, the deep state. What's going on in Texas with the redistricting is a part of it too. So I'm going to go through all of this, but first let's just go through what's going on with everyone's least favorite senator, Adam Schiff. This is in the New York Post. Senator Adam Schiff, I hate saying senator, you got that bump up there. Senator Adam Schiff is reportedly under federal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud after a federal housing agency sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department in May regarding the California Democrats' ownership of a Maryland home. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland, so that's Pam Bondi, by the way, Pam Bondi doing her job. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland is leading the probe, which could result in charges against the junior senator from California and former 12-term congressman. A Trump administration source told Fox News' Ingram Angle host Laura Ingram on Tuesday. The Department of Justice, Maryland, U.S. Attorney's Office, and Schiff did not immediately respond to the New York Post request for comments. Federal Housing Finance Agency Director sent a referral letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Blanche is the guy that interviewed Maxwell the other day, on May 27th, and he was also Trump's attorney in one of the New York cases, detailing multiple instances between, is that 03? Wow, it goes way back. Between 2003 and 2019, when Adam Schiff allegedly falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments for property he owns in Maryland. And by the way, it's Potomac, Maryland, which they describe as one of the most affluent Washington, D.C. suburbs. Adam Schiff listed the Maryland home as his primary residence in several mortgage refinancing filings between 2009 and 2013, despite being an elected official representing the Golden State of California and having taken out a homeowner's tax exemption in Burbank on a condo he purchased, which he also claimed as his primary residence. Over the same time period. Awesome stuff. Adam Schiff and his wife did not list the Potomac property as a secondary residence until 2020. That must have been when they were on to him. Mr. Schiff appears to have falsified records in order to receive favorable loan terms, and also appears to have been aware of the financial benefit of a primary residence mortgage when compared to a secondary residence mortgage. As a spokesperson in 2023 told the media outlet CNN that Adam Schiff's California and Maryland addresses have been listed as primary residences for loan purposes. See, this is mortgage fraud, financial fraud. You go to prison for this stuff. Because they are both occupied throughout the year and to distinguish them from a vacation property, the letter said. Adam Schiff may have violated federal laws. Now, that's true. Wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, making false statements to financial institutions. Oh, boy. Adam Schiff, a former House Intelligence Committee chairman, has been out there. It goes on and on and on. Okay, and Pam Bondi doing her job. Okay, so this guy, this is really an amazing, amazing thing. Adam Schiff has been going around telling lies and slandering President Trump and causing chaos in this country for a decade, right? And there's been no accountability for it. He's been out there lying and slandering nonstop for a decade. You've heard him on TV many times. No accountability. And, a lot of people that think like losers will say, or fake MAGA, fake conservatives who want to tell you that they're conservative when they're really liberals to try to get some agenda going and some false narrative promoted. They'll tell you that, yeah, but we didn't get him on these other things. It doesn't matter what you get them on. They didn't get Al Capone for murder or anything else. They got him on financial crimes, if you remember. So you get them on whatever you can get them on. That's it. You get them on whatever you can get them on. And then you celebrate. You don't worry that we didn't get them on this or didn't get them on that. We got them on this. And that's a great thing. And, I'm going to play a clip later on. Rachel Maddow is so upset. She was on the air on her show on MSNBC. She looked like she was physically ill. She had a difficult time getting through the show because the walls are closing in. In fact, you would think she's afraid of getting a grand jury indictment herself. She's so upset. They never thought in 1,000,001 years that President Trump would be back in the White House as President of the United States. and they're freaking out because justice is coming. I don't care if we get Adam Schiff and Letitia James on mortgage fraud or something else, as long as we get a conviction, right? You guys agree with that? How could you not? But this is only the beginning. We've got a lot to cover, and I most definitely want to take your calls on this and much more. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. I'm wearing one of my favorite Make America Great Again hats. I have so many Make America Great Again hats, but this is one of my Make America Great Again hats that President Trump has seen with his own eyes up close within 3 to 5 feet. And so anytime I wear one of my Make America Great Again hats that President Trump has seen up close with his own eyes, I always feel a little smarter on the air. The show seems to flow a little better. Things come to me a little. I'm just smarter when I got a little of his wisdom through the vision that he laid on this hat. So I'm wearing one of my, what I call one of my MAGA hats of wisdom today, and this is an exciting day. If you're on hold, you hang in there. I want to talk about this deal going on the MyPillow My Slippers with our promo code Kane. This is an amazing deal. The My Slippers are amazing. They're great for all day wear. They're more than just a slipper. I have the slippers. Steve has a couple pairs of the slippers, and Steve wears them on the cruise, even to dinner on formal night. They're very nice. He has I think he has the charcoal ones and a black pair. They come in many different colors. But my Pillow My Slippers, I paid the full price for them, which is $149.98. But now they're at their lowest price ever. There's a special price just for our listeners, just $39.98. That's right. It's a $110 discount on the MyPillow My Slippers just for our listeners, $110 off. You want to order while they have your size in stock, okay? There's two ways you can order. You can go to our special private MyPillow page, mypillow.com/Kane, mypillow.com/Kane, and use our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout, and you'll save $110 on the MyPillow My Slippers. You will not find this on the main MyPillow site because this is a special offer just for our listeners. So you can, the first option, you go to mypillow.com/Kane, K-A-N-E, and with our promo code Kane at checkout, you'll receive $110 off your MyPillow My Slippers. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll take our first break of this MAGA Wednesday and be right back. Oh man, this is really exciting, guys. This is so exciting. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Tay, appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. Now listen, one of our listeners has asked for my help. They're doing something. They need, they're having some financial difficulties. I've talked about them before, and I like what they're doing. As opposed to having a GoFundMe, Dad has actually written a couple of books, and I have the links to these books in the description of the video. So you can see the link in there, SeanFeeneybooks.square.site. That's Sean, S-E-A-N, Feeney, F-E-E-N-Y, books with an S, .square.site. The link's in the description of the video, and if you could pick up one or both of these books, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Are you looking for the perfect stories to share with your little ones this summer? The two children's books from author Sean Feeney make a perfect addition to your child's reading list. First, Flower Story. The Flower Story is a heartwarming tale of a father's unconditional love for his daughter. It's told through gentle words and beautiful illustrations. And what happens with all those little teeth? Young Dylan sets out to solve the mystery of what the tooth fairy really does with all those tiny teeth, complete with hidden fairies and fun facts kids love. Order both books right now on the author's website, SeanFeeneybooks.square.site. That's S-E-A-N-F-E-E-N-Y. SeanFeeneybooks.square.site. Two stories, one amazing author, and endless smiles with your children. SeanFeeneybooks.square.site.
Yeah, so if you guys, the link is in the description to that website of the video, if you could click that link and buy one or both of those books, you would be helping a family out. And they're regulars in the chat here, and I'd appreciate it too. Okay, we will be back shortly. In less than a minute, we'll be back. Let me cue, where am I? Okay, here we go. Stand by. All righty, we're back. Oh man, I'm Brian Craig. It's Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. So it's happening. It's happening everywhere. We got Schiff. We got Letitia James in New York. We've got the Obama coup conspirators, and those are many, in the Pam Bondi grand jury for the Obama coup. And what's going on in Texas as a part of this? There's a big thing happening in Texas. One, there's this redistricting in Texas, which is just an amazing thing, okay? It's serving multiple purposes. One of them is to district Jasmine Crockett out of office. You know, Jasmine Crockett is a poison person. She's trying to be the next Jesse Jackson race hustler. And all she's doing is trying to elevate herself and by causing racial division. And they're districting her out of office, which is a good thing. But also, Democrats, you know, the Republican Party of today is an all-new Republican Party. This is a MAGA Republican Party. This is not the Republican Party of Newt Gingrich, okay, which sucked. You know, when Newt Gingrich was always Speaker, you know, during that whole era, right, after Reagan, all the way up till Trump, the Republican Party in all those times, they spent half their time apologizing to the Democrats and caving to Democrats all the time. Remember all that? They're always apologizing, never standing up to the Democrats, being called this, being called that, being bullied by the Democrats. And the new Republican Party is standing up and says, enough of this. And one of the things that the old Republican Guard have done over the decades is allow, when it comes to redistricting for congressional districts for the House of Representatives, allowing themselves to be bullied by the Democrats. And what that has resulted in is an overrepresentation of Democrats in the Congress. And what they would do is the Democrats, even when Republicans were in power in states like Florida, the Democrats would do this gerrymandering, where they would carve out districts so you could have a black congressman elected, and only a black congressman no matter what, or only a Hispanic congressman, or only a gay congressman. And they would carve these weird districts that are just bizarre, if you ever see the district maps. And the Republicans caved to this nonsense for decades. And the Texas Republicans are saying, enough, enough. I'm not going to do this anymore. And there's been a lot of migration in this country. Migration is not the illegals. That's illegal immigration. Migration is when you move from state to state, you know, you move within the country. And a lot of people have fled the tyranny of Democrat-controlled states over the last 5 years to Republican red states like Texas and Florida. So not only are the congressional districts in Texas, Florida, and pretty much everywhere else that's a Republican state, not representative of that state because of the mass migration of the last 5 years since the shutdowns and lockdown period. but also because the wimpy Republicans before allowed the Democrats to draw up the districts. So you have Democrats overrepresented in Congress. That's just a fact, Jack. There's no doubt about it. I saw a guy from California, 40% of the voters in California are Democrat, and they have what percentage of the House seats? Just, very few. Very small percentage. So what's going on in Texas doesn't just redistrict Jasmine Crockett out of office, which is a very, very good thing, and get the proper, accurate representation in Congress that Texas deserves. It's going to be the model for other states. Ron DeSantis here in Florida and others had talked about a new census. That's a difficult thing. But Republican-controlled legislators can do the redistricting anytime, and that's what's going on. And it's going to happen. And you're going to find a reduction in the Democrat representation in Congress because they're overrepresented. It's just the way it is. Now, the states are still going to have the same representation because the number of House members a state has is only adjusted after the census every 10 years. So however many members of the House of Representatives Texas has, after the redistricting, they'll have the same number. But they'll have the proper representation balance based on the population of the state, not some weird carved out district going from black house to black house so they can have an overrepresentation of Democrat African Americans or whatever other demos they've done. And you're going to find other Republican states doing the exact same thing. And this is beautiful. And it should have been done a long time ago. And Donald Trump has inspired Republicans to be like him, tough, and stand up to these jerks. And I'm excited about it. I'll tell you who's not excited. Rachel Maddow. She was like physically ill on the air yesterday. Listen to Rachel Maddow. Oh boy. Oh, yes.
But whether you're looking at small-scale local stories or the biggest picture stories about what's happening in our country, the story is the same, and it is now an undeniable thing.
Okay. And I'm going to play the rest of this, but Rachel Maddow, she's a woman of a few thousand words, isn't she? But she seems physically upset. She sounds like she was just crying. You would almost think she's afraid that she's going to be indicted in this grand jury. Do you think she was a part of the coup? She was on the air every night with exclusive information on the Russian collusion that didn't exist. Where was she getting all this information? I'm not saying she did anything illegal, but she seems to be pretty depressed and nervous about something. Oh, yeah. What? Oh, is it? I'm sorry, this was 2 nights ago, not last night. Oh, my goodness. She's incoherent. Well, this is, what this is? This is live on-air therapy is what she's doing for herself. Does she not sound like she's been crying? She sounds like she's been crying to me. And she's trying to make herself happy. But anyway, she's going to get into it here. Stand by. Here we go. Back to Rachel. Yes, it's free again. Really? An authoritarian. The last leaders were, arresting a president multiple times, breaking into a president's house, shooting him, trying to do it again. Now we're in a fascist authoritarian period? What are you talking about, Rachel Maddow? Oh, please. Do we? A dictator that gets elected, right? Who left office, by the way, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, came back and ran again. What kind of dictator leaves office, runs again, and then comes back? Doesn't fit the definition of dictator. Yeah, because it is, jerk. Oh my goodness.
Imagine the cartoon level caricature of what you think dictatorship looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's secret police, right?
Where's the secret police? Oh, ICE. They're secret police. They wear vests that say ICE, police, federal agent. That's not secret police. They come in and say federal agents, and they say it in Spanish. Yeah, they're wearing masks that the liberals made law 5 years ago. But, you know, they're doxing them.
Badged, literally masked, totally unaccountable internal police force.
Oh, my goodness.
Infinite funding.
Yes.
Identifiable leadership.
No, it's Tom Homan, the border czar, right? And Kristi Noem, the Secretary of Homeland Security. There's also a border patrol guy, I forgot his name, and the President of the United States, Donald Trump. So we know who runs them, Rachel.
And they act in ways designed to instill maximum fear and use maximum force.
Oh, my goodness.
You imagine an authoritarian country, right? What you imagine is masked secret police breaking people's car windows.
Secret police that wear vests that say federal agent, ICE, police.
Snatching people off the streets and out of church parking lots and courtroom hallways and taking them away with no charges, no notice, no paperwork, no explanation. Not letting them see lawyers and then moving them secretly to what are effectively black site prisons.
Oh my goodness. Alligator Alcatraz, they have access to attorneys and legal help there. So that none of this is true. And it's not a black site. We know where it is. It's in the Everglades, Rachel. Oh my goodness. How could she lie to her audience like this?
They won't tell you who's there. They don't allowed in. Right? In that kind of a cartoon caricature of an authoritarian country, the one you might have imagined in melodramatic, cinematic terms,
Oh my goodness.
you would expect, right, that you'd have a scapegoated minority group
Oh,
for all things. In our case, immigrants,
illegals. Okay, here she is defending the illegals.
right? And the new extraordinary powers and shows of force by the secret police, among other things.
Secret police.
Extraordinary powers and shows of force will be
And keep in mind, the Biden administration had undercover federal agents in school board parking lots during school board meetings and were writing down the license plate numbers of parents whose cars were in the parking lot while they were in the school board meeting. Remember that in Virginia? Just like at the beginning of The Godfather, when the feds were out there writing down the license plates of who went to the wedding.
framed as necessary to stop this terrible internal war. Right? Frame everything as immigration enforcement. Because for immigration enforcement, not only is all force justified, but maximum force is preferred.
Oh my goodness.
Make it into a national entertainment to threaten to feed immigrants to alligators in South Florida.
Oh my goodness. No one's threatening to feed alligators illegals here in Florida, okay? No one's threatening that. Does she seem panicked? Does Rachel Maddow to you seem panicked, completely terrified, and as if she's afraid that this grand jury is going to come out with an indictment on her? If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. What do you guys think? Tell me yes or no in the chat, and call me on the air about it. Does she seem terrified? She seems terrified to me. Oh boy. Oh yeah, her whole world's coming apart. Oh, man. Yeah, if you're on hold, stand by. Oh, yeah, this is great. Yep, she does seem terrified. Why would she be terrified? What is she afraid of? What did she do? What did she do? What did she do? Oh, my goodness. They're always, with the Democrats, they're always defending anyone but an American, right? You never hear them back an American. They're always advocating for foreigners. That's right, Adam Schiff. We're getting Adam Schiff. This has been one of the best weeks ever, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. We'll be back in about a minute. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, what a great day. What a great day. This week has just been a great week. We'll be back in less than a minute. We are back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. This is like the best week ever. I mean, the lawfare is really happening. Let's take a call or two before we bring up some new stuff and continue to celebrate the federal investigation of Adam Schiff.
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, she looks. Rachel Maddow looks panicked.
Yeah, she does.
But you know what this is?
I tell you, not only does she look panicked, she looks like she's been crying to me. Didn't it look like she was crying before the show?
Yeah, it does look like she was crying, but what it is what they call an extinction burst. And the best way to explain that is if you've ever put money into a machine to get a Coke and stuff, and you don't get the Coke and you don't get your money back, what happens? You start punching and kicking and shaking the machine.
No, I don't do that. That would be like, vandalism. You're arrested for that.
That's the best way. That's the best way to describe what's happening with these people. That they didn't get their satisfaction. They didn't get Trump in jail. They got the and everything they got backfired on them. The photo, the mugshot, and everything else backfired on them.
Yep.
Yep.
And the assassination attempt in Butler and at the golf course.
Yeah, and you're right. You're right with if you can't get them on, being part of. You got to get them what you got to get them on, and if you get Adam Schiff on this mortgage fraud stuff, get him.
Well, I was reading some of the stories on the Adam Schiff allegations. These are allegations, and this is America. You're proven innocent. You're innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, so we have a presumption of innocence for everyone. But what the allegations, they say, are punishable by up to 30 years in federal prison. And in federal prison, you have to do 80% of your time before you're eligible for parole, I believe. So that's like, what,
Right.
24 years?
And they need to find a way to go get after some of these other people that were on the Jan 6 committee.
Yes.
Like Cheney and like Kinzinger.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate the call, Mike. Mike from Louisiana is right on the money. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Chris from Chicago.
Hey, Chris.
How you doing?
All right.
How you doing? Rachel Maddow, our job is to stoke fear and sell propaganda just like you. So it doesn't matter what you say. You know?
My job is to do what? What did you say my job is?
I said stoke fear and sell propaganda.
What have you heard me say that is the stoking of fear? That's a very fancy phrase. What am I doing that is the stoking of fear? I'm curious.
Well, I'm not gonna go too far into it.
Well, no, you made it actually. No, you called me a phony. You just called me a phony. Back it up or take it back. You say that I get paid to stoke fear. Give an example of something I've done that fits the definition of stoking of fear. You called me a phony. You called me a fraud. Back it up, jerk.
This is why you're a fraud, okay?
Well, I'm asking. You said I'm a fraud. Point out the fraud.
This is why you're a fraud. Okay?
Point out the fraud.
Right now. Okay,
I'm the fraud. You made a terrible allegation against me, and you can't think of an example to back it up?
I'm trying to. Would you listen?
Well, get to it.
Listen, please.
Get to it.
Okay.
Sure.
GM just lost $1 billion due to tariffs. You don't want to talk about that. Ford just lost $2 billion.
No. You're giving me a list of news stories. You said that I get paid to stoke fear. So that means you're accusing me of getting paid to make people afraid. Give me an example of something I've done recently that fits the charge that I stoke fear. I've asked you 5 times since you said it. You can't even think of something. Get off the phone, you lying fraud yourself. My goodness. Gee whiz. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes.
Hey,
you're on.
Are you the Dunning-Kruger case study we're all listening to now?
What?
Are you the Dunning-Kruger case study we're all listening
I
to?
didn't. You have the phone too close to your mouth. Here, we got another incel on the line. So I couldn't understand the first part. I heard case study, but what's the first part you said?
Are you the Dunning-Kruger case study with 0 sources sounding emotional like they're going to cry on live stream?
What are you talking about? What sources? What have I said? You said I have no sources. I'm not a case study. What is? Oh my goodness! Another incel. That's what I'm going to start calling. You know what an incel is? I learned about incels watching Criminal Minds. You know the TV show? I like Criminal Minds. Not this last season. This last season of Criminal Minds sucked. Don't watch it. But Criminal Minds, incels, involuntarily celibate. Incels are men who are involuntarily celibate, which means that the women of American society have decided that they're going to be celibate. So here we go. Oh my goodness. All right, so let me get back to this celebration of the federal investigation of Adam Schiff. This is a... Oh my goodness. What do you guys think about these guys? Do you think incel, involuntarily celibate incel, do you think that is an accurate label for these guys? It would seem to apply to me. Anyway, let's get back to this. This is the Daily Mail article. I went through the New York Post article at the top. This is the Daily Mail article about Adam Schiff, top Democrat Adam Schiff is under criminal investigation after Trump called him a scam artist. Oh boy, this is great stuff. A Democrat enemy of Donald Trump, oh boy, liberal paper here, is under criminal investigation for mortgage fraud after the president called him a scam artist who belonged in prison. That's right. California Senator Adam Schiff is accused of misrepresenting which home he uses as his primary residence. A Trump administration insider told Fox News host Laura Ingraham that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland is considering pressing charges. The Department of Justice last month received a criminal referral from the Federal Housing and Finance Agency alleging Adam Schiff falsified bank documents and property records to secure better loan terms. There are people in prison for doing this right now in this country. In a 2011 affidavit signed by Adam Schiff, this is the Daily Mail, and by the way, I did tweet all these articles I'm going through. He declared a home in Montgomery County, Maryland as his primary residence. But as recent as 2023, a condominium in Burbank, California is also listed as his primary residence. Adam Schiff and his wife purchased a Maryland home in 2003 for $870,000 with a $610,000 mortgage. The rate was set at 5.625 over 30 years on the basis that it was their primary and principal residence. Based on media reports, in multiple instances, he falsified. Now, again, this is what they're reporting on Fox. These are the allegations. There are allegations of falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019 for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. This is according to the criminal referral. As a regulator of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the federal home loan banks, we take very seriously allegations of mortgage fraud. So it looks like we're getting Adam Schiff on mortgage fraud, Letitia James on mortgage fraud. The swamp, it is being drained. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. Oh man, guys, I've been a customer of Friendly Tire. It's had to be 20 years now. You can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And those are on common sizes that fit some of the most common vehicles on the road today, all right? This as low as $75 on new tires out the door and on the road isn't for, some Fiat that has like golf cart tires. These are for tires on some of the most popular vehicles on the highways today, okay? And when I say out the door and on the road, that's important for you to understand. When you call Friendly Mike is going to give you a price. He does not. That is the out the door price. The low prices, as low as $75 on new tires. He doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or even dispose of your old tires. He also does tire repairs and has thousands of good used tires in stock as well, and all the name brands you know and love too. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. If you're on hold, stand by. Back after this. Do you guys think incel is a good nickname for these strange guys? You can let me know, yes or no on that. It seems to fit. It's an accurate description, I would say. Oh man, incel. You guys like incel? I like that. Incel's good. Yeah, I used that the other day, and I think maybe I'll keep it. We're back shortly. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, man. Welcome, everyone. Mm-hmm. A little over a minute, we'll be back. Tomorrow, I will be at the radio station. We'll be back in less than a minute. I didn't wear a belt, and my pants are falling off because of all this weight I lost. I went so long without wearing a belt, I forget to put one on in the mornings a lot. I didn't wear a belt for years because I didn't have to. Now that I lost all this weight, I do. All right, the best week ever. Trump is draining the swamp from sea to shining sea, literally. Yeah, from California all the way to D.C. and the South in Florida and Texas as well. So that we have a nationwide swamp draining taking place by the president and his great team. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. Let's take another call or two, then we'll get into some more stories because there's so much to cover. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, I'm thinking with this Rachel Maddow, her boss should be telling her, you better retract that lie that we're feeding princess to alligators. Otherwise, we may lose our license because how can you have a network putting out lies like that? That shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's feeding illegals to alligators in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. And the dumbest thing, how can you even say something like that? You know, so that company needs to go away. I don't know how they can have a license if they're.
But you know, when you look at it, did she not look scared to you? She looked terrified to me.
She looks scared. She looks like.
Well, you know what? You know what I wonder. What I wonder is why does she look scared? What did she do that she's afraid she's going to be paying the consequences for? You understand what I mean? There's something going on that has her in a panic. You know, I've been on the air during all kinds of things going on in my personal life, and sometimes it can be hard. You know, you got something major going on in your personal life. It's tragic. Things are going on with people, maybe you, and you got to go on the air. And I know what that looks like because I've experienced it myself so many times, and I've seen it on others. And that's what I'm seeing with Rachel Maddow. She does look like she was bawling her eyes out before the show, and she looks like she's scared of something.
So something's not right with her. It'll be great to see her disappear because, man, she's a.
You mean you don't want her on the air? You mean retire is what you mean. When you say disappear, you mean retire? Yeah, her and Howard Stern. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, howdy, partner.
Howdy, partner.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting this, honestly.
Well, you picked up the phone and called. I mean, didn't you expect at some point that I would take your call?
Well, honestly, I was just sitting on hold enjoying the nice, lovely music
Okay.
you were playing. I had totally zoned out. Okay.
Okay.
I just want to say I don't appreciate those incels who are calling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Here
we go. I'm waiting
there
for
was
it.
something
Get the
else
dump
you
butt
were
ready.
talking about. Could you refresh my memory?
No. I've been on the air already for 52 minutes. What am I supposed to? You want me to replay the last 52 minutes? You picked up the phone and called for a reason. Why don't you just cut to it? You know why you called. You picked up the okay, there we go. I mean, what a jerk. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What a weirdo. That guy was really weird. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian Fig.
Yes?
Are we getting through?
We? Are you refer to yourself? You refer to yourself in the royal we? Oh my goodness.
No, with more than one of us.
Oh, you're not alone. There's other people on the phone with you calling me? You said, are we? Who's the we?
Does that matter? Either way. So, do you fixate on these people because you too are an over-emotional little bitch? Your sources?
What do you mean my sources? My sources are the news. If you listen to the show, I'm going through. Oh, you're the same incel. You're the same incel that called a minute ago with the case study stuff. All right, take care. Oh my goodness. My sources. I'm sharing with you stories that are in the news, and I'm telling you the news sources. New York Post, Daily Mail. Those are a couple places I've used as sources this morning. You know, Friday, we call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Friday's open phones, right? We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Maybe Wednesday, today's Wednesday, maybe we should call it Incel Wednesday. How about that? Incel Wednesday. You guys like that? Oh, my goodness. These Texas Democrats are in big trouble. This story with Beto, what's Beto's real name? He's been going by this fake Spanish nickname for so long, I have forgotten what Beto's real name is. Does anyone remember? It's Beto O'Rourke, but what's his real first name? I cannot remember. He's been going by this for so long. But this is an interesting story, and it fits into something that the great governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, said the other day. The plane that carried Texas Democrats, it's a private jet, plane that carried Texas Democrat to Illinois was funded by Beto O'Rourke's PAC. That's right. When Texas Democrats fled to Illinois a few days ago in an effort to stop the state legislature from moving forward with redistricting efforts, they traveled there by private plane. How did they afford such a thing? Beto O'Rourke's PAC apparently paid for it. Okay, now, 2 days ago, I saw Governor Greg Abbott on Fox News, and he says that they've committed the act of bribery if they flew to Illinois on a private jet that they didn't pay for. Here, we got it. This is going so according to plan. Back to the Gateway Pundit article. This makes sense when you consider that Beto O'Rourke has run for almost every possible office in Texas except dog catcher and has lost every time. He was in the House for a while. Beto probably jumped at the chance to help these Democrats. The news is certainly not going to help their cause with Texas voters. State lawmakers in Texas make $7,200 a year. A group of Democratic legislators spent roughly 4 times that amount to take a private jet to Illinois. So, yeah, that fits the definition of a bribe, according to the governor of Texas. See, this is what I'm talking about, that we have a new Republican Party now. We have a Republican Party that stands up to these Democrats. We've never had that before. And the Democrats just cannot get used to the idea that they can't bully people around anymore. And they don't know how to operate because the Democrat Party has gotten by the last 30 or so years, probably longer, by intimidation, accusing people of being a racist, accusing people of being a sexist, accusing people of being all kinds of things that aren't true. And now those words aren't working. Those tactics aren't working. Their political stunts aren't working, and the Republicans are standing up to them. They don't know how to react. Now, if you're in pain, I'm going to tell you how to react, and that's go see Dr. Appleton and take advantage of his laser away pain treatment. Dr. Appleton, who's rid me of pain 7 times, sometimes from injuries, from falls and such, sometimes pains from growing old, like the arthritis he rid me of. You know, he rid me of my arthritis pain in my hand over a year ago, and it has not returned. Boom, it's awesome. Yeah, it's great. The laser treatment works. He rid me of pain in my knee. I had that knee pain for decades. That was from a car accident I was in. And the knee pain, I thought I was going to that was just part of my life for the rest of my life. No, it's gone. And the pains have not returned. Dr. Appleton's laser away pain treatment works on every pain I've ever heard of. It is 100% painless. You don't even feel it when it happens. There's no shots, no injections. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, not an assistant. And get this. There's no, did I say there's no drugs too? No pain medication, no shots, no injections, and also no appointments are necessary. Walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays because Dr. Appleton understands when you're in pain, you need help and you need it now. If you've been in a car accident and go see Dr. Appleton. The laser treatment works on those pains you're suffering from a car accident. You can give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, so what's it like being a pedophile offender?
There you go. There we go. Yeah. You know, another incel. I guess I've triggered the incels today. Oh, my goodness. See, this is what winning is. See? Winning is, you're seeing it. These callers that I'm talking to today on the phone, other than, as crazy as this is, other than Mike from Louisiana and Doug, every single caller has been like Rachel Maddow was Monday night on her TV show, that clip I played. They're incoherent. They're hysterical. They're in a complete state of panic, and they don't know how to react. And they're just throwing out words and saying things for noise because they don't know how to react to being... They have no power now. Not only are the Democrats out of power, they have no hope of getting back in it. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's toll-free no matter where you're tuned in from, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Oh, man. Before I get back to the news, I want to talk a minute or two about Howard Stern. You know, remember what President Trump said? I can't say the whole sentence on the air, but you can fill in the blank. Everything woke turns to, you know the rest, right? Everything, to quote our great president, everything woke turns to, fill in the blank at home, okay? There's a story out about Howard Stern that says that they're not renewing his contract at Sirius XM. I guess he's making $100 million a year, and they're going to offer him a new contract that they say he won't accept. This is being widely reported, whether it's true or not, I don't know. This is sad in many ways, what's become of Howard Stern. And, you know, I talk a lot about DeSantis. I was talking to a caller the other day about DeSantis, and someone got upset with me. Who was it? Barbara in Baltimore got upset with me about this. Ron DeSantis, his wife destroyed his political career, and it's really sad. Because he's still doing great things as governor, but his wife got him to betray Trump and destroyed his political career. Now, he's always going to be around, and he may end up being our senator and may put me in a catch-22 where I and other MAGA people have to vote for him. President Trump may even vote for him for Senate, because President Trump votes in Florida and the First Lady. But his wife got in his head and destroyed his career. And the same thing has happened to Howard Stern. Howard Stern, whatever people say, what he did was in radio was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I did not listen to his show when he was on the radio because I've always worked in the mornings. And when he was on the radio in the Miami market, I was on the air in the mornings. I've always been on in the morning drive and overnights. So I didn't listen to him when he was on the actual radio. But in the show that he did, though, back then, you know, that morning zoo thing, you know, what he did was absolutely amazing. In every market that he went in, the other #1 morning zoo in the market that was hosted by legendary people, he ran off the air and beat them. And you got to respect that, you know. And when he made that deal with the satellite radio people, he got a big deal, and he was making a lot of money because he was so famous and important. And then he messed up, and his wife left him, and he got remarried to this liberal woman that he's been married with all these years, and he's changed. And people got to see the new Howard Stern, mainly during the shutdown, lockdown periods, and what Howard Stern became, as opposed to the king of all media, you know. And I'll say this: you've heard me say this on the air before. His movie Private Parts. Every radio person I know, when Private Parts came out, they told me that's my story. You know, the program director, Pig Vomit. We've all had those. I had a guy just like that, Peter Bolger in Miami. You guys remember? I'm sure he's program director somewhere else, destroying radio stations in another market right now, probably. But we've all had program directors like Pig Vomit that trying to hold you down and everything else. No talents, they can't make it on the air, you know. And they become program directors and they hate people on the air. And everybody said that's my story. And Howard Stern described Private Parts when it came out in theaters, and it was the #1 movie, as a Rocky story, and it was. And he was a tough guy who went up against everything. And then he married the woman he's been married to for many, many years now, destroyed his family and everything else. Really sad, you know. And he's like an old Jewish lady now. Wouldn't leave his house for years. Was freaking out, doing shows remotely and all this stuff in weird ways. And he just became a wimpy guy, not the tough guy that people respected. He became an old Jewish lady. And I don't think many people would argue with that. Then he took it a step further and started trashing President Trump and everyone who voted for him. This is a MAGA nation we're in. This is a MAGA nation, you know, we talking a lot about Sydney Sweeney because she's the #1 actress in Hollywood right now, and she's proud MAGA with everything she's doing. And so Howard Stern told his audience that they're jerks supporting this evil guy and not to listen to him. And it's really sad what he's done. Now, what the real story is, we don't know. I mean, what I shared at the top is what's being widely reported. But he used to be a tough guy, and then he became this old woman, and that's what's, you know, responsible for his downfall. If he would have, and this is like when wives get in people's heads and destroy their careers, like Ron DeSantis's wife. And, you know, if he was friends with Donald Trump for years, he used to have him on the show all the time. And you know he takes all those Trump tax cuts, and then why do you think he lives in Florida? No taxes, no state income tax in Florida and all that stuff. You know, come on. And you know he takes all the Trump tax cuts. Of course he does. You know? And, yeah, if he would have stood up against he became, the guy that was famous for fighting the establishment became the establishment. You know, and I hope the story, I don't listen to him, but I hope the story's not true. You got to have some respect. And there was an interview that he did a few years ago with a real scummy guy, David Letterman. And as crazy as this will say, he was talking about, Howard Stern was telling Letterman, you know, who he used to listen to. That was, you know, like who got him interested in radio and what he modeled his show after. And the first name that he said was Bob Grant, the great late Bob Grant out of New York. And a lot of you know Steve Kane was friends with Bob Grant, and when Bob Grant was visiting, Steve took my wife and I out to dinner with Bob Grant, and Steve worked with Bob Grant back in the 1960s and those Joe Pine days. And the style of programming that we do here, that I learned from Steve Kane, is the Bob Grant style that Bob Grant learned from Joe Pine. So, you know, the Howard Stern show doesn't talk about news and politics like we do. It's a different kind of show with a lot of perversions and things. But there's a lot of similarities between them. You may not realize it, but there is. And you got to have respect for what he's done. And he became this old Jewish lady in Florida, and he's destroyed himself. And people don't like him anymore. He's no longer fighting the man. He is the man. He's no longer taking on the establishment. He is the establishment. And if he would have stood by his friend Donald Trump and be a proud MAGA guy, he'd still be relevant. You know, and I don't think that's even up for debate. I think that is a fact that you could take to the bank without question. I don't know if I'd say what's being reported is sad, but you know, who knows what he'll do? I don't know if he'll retire. Maybe he wants to retire. I mean, he's got it. He's been making $100 million a year for how long? So, you know, he might have $1 billion in the bank. Who knows? He may want to retire. But he would want to retire on his own terms, not go out like an old lady. All right. Well, let me take a call or two, then we'll break. And I got a lot more news to get back to involving the important stuff. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me get it off speakerphone.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Oh, my goodness.
I'm here.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian?
It's me. Here we go.
Bob from San Diego.
All right, Bob, what's up?
Just, Brian, I'm trying to find out why you're so reluctant to speak to someone that disagrees with you.
I talk to people who disagree with me all day on this program.
That's ridiculous. No. Every time someone calls in that disagrees, you have a meltdown. You become personal. You start becoming insulting every single time.
It depends.
All you do is take a deep breath.
Give me okay. All right, listen.
Brian,
slow down.
I'm speaking to you.
Slow down for a second. Let's walk through it.
I'm speaking.
No, excuse me. I'm allowing you to speak on the program, okay?
Brian,
Give me
you don't argue the facts.
Give me an example.
You don't argue the facts.
Well, then bring up something. All right. Then give me pick something I've talked about today that you disagree with.
Okay, Trump fired 81,000 veterans. Why are you scared of talking about that?
Okay, couple things, and I'll respond to your question.
Do you agree? Do you agree with Trump?
See, this is
yes or no?
It is not a yes or
no.
no. It is not a yes or no.
Be a man. Answer the question.
I'm going to answer the question with or without you on the phone. But you got it. You've got all right. I'm going to do it without you on the phone. Oh my goodness. Couple things. Okay, and I'm going to respond to his charges against me. Not that I need to defend myself. Friday is open phones. On Friday's show, it's Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. Monday through Thursday, you got to talk about the things that Steve and I bring up on the air. Now, we may be a little loose with that on a particular caller or two, but it's not open phones Monday through Thursday. It's open phones on Friday. So that's number one. Number two, this. If you go back and listen to the first hour of today's program, there were several liberal callers that called in. Each and every one of them was a different level of perversion, none of them on topic, some of them slandering me and making accusations. There was no substance, okay? So if you bring up something that when Monday through Thursday, if you hear me say something that you disagree with, or Steve, pick up the phone and say, hey, you were talking about this private plane that Maddow, helped these Democrats illegally escape on. I disagree with you on that and take issue with. You don't call up and say Epstein or bring up something that we're not talking about and then expect me to change directions of the show. That's not how it works, okay? On Fridays, you can call in about anything and everything on your mind, and we'll talk about it because it's Open MAGA Mike Friday on Fridays. The other thing, so far as losing my a guy called in as an example in the last hour. And he said, you get paid to lie and to stoke fear. He said, you get paid to stoke fear and lie, in that order. And I said to him, give me an example of something I've said today or recently that is stoking fear in people. And he couldn't do it. And he kept saying it over and over again. Yeah, so when someone calls in and calls me a fraud, yeah, I might lose my cool. Wouldn't you? Someone's calling you a fraud? Or maybe you wouldn't. Now I want to talk about this great deal from the My Pillow, My Slippers. Listen, this My Slipper deal is exclusive to our listeners and no one else. And here's the deal. The My Pillow, My Slippers, the regular price is $149.98. That's what I paid for mine. $149.98, 2 cents short of $150. And they're worth every penny because they're amazing slippers that are good for all day wear. But right now, with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can get the My Pillow, My Slippers for $39.98. That's a $110 savings, $110 savings with our promo code Kane. However, this special is only good for our listeners. So you have to go to our private MyPillow website, which is mypillow.com/Kane, Kane, mypillow.com/Kane, and use the promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout. Or you can order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane. The My Pillow, My Slippers, just $39.98, $110 off, but just for our listeners. Go and order them right now while they still have your size in stock. We'll be right back. We'll be back shortly, guys, okay? So hang in there. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. One other thing, too, I just want to mention on that last call. Sorry, I went long on the break there. I don't remember the number he said, but this thing about the veterans being fired, you know, the Democrats have no honor, and they're very comfortable lying to your face. And the Democrats, they get their messaging right out of Goebbels' playbook. If you don't know who Goebbels is, you're probably a liberal, you know, look it up. But Goebbels, he was the propaganda minister for Hitler, okay? And what Goebbels said is, repeat a lie often enough and people will believe it. And no matter what period you're in, the Democrats always have some lie. Like Rachel Maddow earlier says that Trump and Republicans are threatening to feed migrants to alligators in Florida, right? You know, repeat that over again, people are going to believe that. You know? And this lie about Trump has fired how many thousands of veterans. They are reducing the size of the federal workforce, and veterans, a lot of them go and work at the federal workforce. You ever go to the post office? Those jerks that don't care about customer service at the post office, a lot of them are veterans. So yeah, when you lay them off, they're going to be, some of them are going to be veterans. He's not laying off veterans. He's laying off people, some of which are veterans, but he's not targeting veterans. But see, liberals don't care. All they care about is getting a message out. All of a sudden, they care about veterans. What about the active duty personnel that Biden got killed? Biden and Obama got the entire SEAL team killed that took out bin Laden. Remember that? Or the American servicemen and women in Afghanistan that Biden got killed during the botched withdrawal. But now all of a sudden they want you to think they care about veterans. You know, that's one of the frustrations I think a lot of people have with the left is they just have no honor. They just make things up. Now, I saw this morning. The White House has announced this. Listen to this. President Trump will make a surprise announcement from the Oval Office at 4:30 p.m. today, according to the White House. President Trump will make a surprise announcement from the Oval Office at 4:30 p.m. today, according to the White House. Does anyone have any idea what that is? Has it leaked out yet? It could be something big or something good, but not hugely big. I don't know. Anybody have any idea what that might be? He was talking a lot about Russia yesterday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, good morning, Brian. This is Joan from Tampa Bay.
Hey, Joan.
I'm just sick of listening to the Democrats and what they're doing. I mean, it was good for them, but not for us. And now we're doing something, and they're just running away or saying that we're all sorts of things. We're racist. We're whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just, and then they're calling Trump a king, a dictator. Well, I was during COVID. I was, worried about losing my job until DeSantis said you can't lose your job in Florida if you're not going to give like a vaccine.
Well, here's the thing, okay? If you listen to in the first hour, I took a lot of calls in the first hour, and I don't know how many liberals called me. What, half a dozen or so called in the first hour? They were all unhinged. They were all unhinged. You could hear from each and every one of them, just unhinged without any content, and they're losing their minds. They're all like a bunch of Jessica Tarloffs on the 5. What are they supposed to say?
We all knew 2020 was.
Well, listen, I'm going to run because I'm late on I took the last break late, and I want to take this one on time so we don't get behind. But I agree with you. They got problems. I apologize for the very short segment, guys. It's my fault. I took the last break late. So I'm going to take this one on time so we can be on schedule for the rest of the show. If I go late on this one, we'll have a traffic jam that will never end till 9. We'll be right back. Anyone have any idea what that special announcement is from President Trump? All right, we'll be back in just over 30 seconds, guys. Stand by. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm going to go through some stories. I'm not going to take any calls quite yet because we got a lot of stories to cover. Welcome back, everyone. Now we are on schedule. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. There's a lot of stories we got to cover. And then, of course, we got to get back to the celebration of this federal investigation of mortgage fraud allegations made against Adam Schiff. We got to celebrate that. Breitbart reporting the state of, this is what makes me so sad about Ron DeSantis betraying him. He's doing so many good things as governor. He really is. And here's another one. Florida preparing second immigration detention center in addition to Alligator Alcatraz. That's right. Florida, we have two major sectors of the economy. Of course, tourism. Everybody knows that. But Florida is also a big farming state. A lot of people don't realize that. Big farming state, big sugar, huge in the state of Florida. It's not just oranges. And both the service industry and the farm industry, you get a lot of illegals over the years with that. So listen to this in Breitbart. This is really awesome news. Florida is reportedly preparing to open a second immigration detention center in addition to Alligator Alcatraz, according to public records pointing to a north detention facility. Florida is a big state. I tell this to people a lot. Florida is much bigger than people realize. The Tallahassee Democrat, how many papers still tell you what their party affiliation is? The Tallahassee Democrat, that's how it used to be. There used to be Democrat papers and Republican papers, and they would tell you that if they were the Democrat or Republican papers, but very few still do. The Tallahassee Democrat, they do it just out of, I guess, tradition. The Tallahassee Democrat newspaper revealed that the Florida Department of Emergency Management is purchasing a weather stem and two lightning sirens for the facilities for $39,000. Oh my goodness, that's expensive. The second facility in North Florida has already been identified as Camp Blanding. Governor Ron DeSantis has for weeks fielded questions on the possibility of transforming the camp into a second immigration detention center in the Sunshine State. Oh, that's great. I mean, this is just awesome. And this is, this goes into what's happening in the Texas redistricting. Before Trump, when Republicans had been in the majorities many times, but they never governed like they were in the majority. Now they are for the first time. I remember it was one of the elections during George W. Bush's presidency. I can't remember which one, but the Republicans won the majority in Congress. And then what did they do? They split the committee chairmanship with the Democrats. What the heck? All of us were so ticked about that. You're the majority, you're the chairman. You don't split it with the Democrats, but that's what it used to be like to be a Republican. Now we have Republicans that are governing like they're the majority, whether it's in Congress, whether it's in Texas, whether it's in Washington or here in Florida. And this is a completely new thing. And we'll have Alligator Alcatraz South and Alligator Alcatraz North. That's fine with me. I think that might be a good name. And that's it. And the word is out. If you're illegal and you're in Florida, you're going to get deported if they catch you. And, of course, liberals have been attacked. You've seen the outrage over Alligator Alcatraz, and the Republicans haven't been to that. They've stood up, and now they're building a second facility, and there's facilities going up in other states, too. This is what has all these Democrat incels freaked out. Here's another one. Latest job reports shows all job gains going to Americans, not illegals. That really freaks them out. For some reason, the Democrats believe that the illegals are entitled to these American jobs. This is in Breitbart. The latest Bureau of Labor Statistics report for July shows all job gains are going to native-born Americans rather than foreign workers, President Donald Trump's Department of Homeland Security reports. In an interview with CNBC, President Trump said the latest employment figures are a victory for Americans as the data shows foreign workers continuing to drop out of the labor market, opening jobs for working and lower middle-class Americans. See, they're dropping out of the labor market because, some of them are being forced because they're being deported, but a lot of them are voluntarily dropping out of work because they're afraid they're going to get rounded up, or maybe they're self-deporting, who knows? But this is how it's supposed to be, okay? These are not jobs for illegals, these are jobs for Americans or legal immigrants with proper paperwork. Here's the president talking about it. Yeah. So look at that. A 1.7 million drop off of foreign-born workers from March through July. You know, these are miraculous times we are in. And, you know, the first Trump administration was great, but it wasn't this great. We're at a whole new level. And we're at a whole new level for a number of reasons, but Trump spent I don't know how he had time to do this in the last 4 years. But, you know, they were trying to shoot him and put him in prison and stuff. But they actually shot him once. But somehow during the 4 years of all this harassment that he went through and assassination attempts and such, he still was able to make plans with his team that when he came in, they were going to take care of business, and they're doing it. And another thing with President Trump, you notice he's not spending any time trying to convince anyone that what he's doing is right. He's just doing it. Now he takes questions, you know, but he's just doing it. And for think about that, a 1.7 million drop-off of foreign-born workers. You know what that is? That's 1.7 million jobs created by President Trump from March to July just based on that. And for those out there who say, well, Americans don't want to do those jobs, yes, they will. Now, maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe these incels they keep calling me, these effeminate soy boys that I hear from on the phones don't want to do it. It would interrupt with their gaming session on Twitch or something. But no, people do want to do these jobs. And the thing is, all of these jobs are going to start paying proper wages. And what's happened here, this is really a very historic time in the labor market. This is the most, and the Democrats are freaking out. This is the most historic time in the labor market since after the Civil War and the slaves were freed. You know, a lot of slaves had a lot of job skills. And when the slaves were free, the ones that left the plantation and didn't get involved in that sharecropping scam that the Democrats had running for 100 years, they went out in the labor market and they were taking jobs from people that had been born free, okay, and skilled jobs, blacksmiths, carpenters, you know, because all these jobs on the plantation, they had valuable skills, many of the newly freed slaves, and it was a major change in the job market because you had this new wave, the free Democrat-owned slaves. They were now free. The Democrats didn't own them anymore, and they had all these skills in the job market. And people that had been born free. That's right, born free. Remember that movie? People born free had to compete with it, and that was a big change in the job market. It took a long time. It took until maybe close to the First World War for the country to adjust to that. It was such a change. Well, that's what's happening here. We have had for decades so many of these jobs held by illegals. When I was a kid in Florida, my grandparents and my dad live up in Central Florida. I've talked about this a lot. They lived in Okeechobee, Florida, and which is a 2-horse hick town then, and it's I think they have 3, maybe 4 horses now, but it's still a hick town. And it's surrounded by, at the time, surrounded by a lot of farms, dairies and such, and there was a lot of illegal Mexicans that lived there, that worked on these things, and they had really taken over the community. They had a movie theater, a drive-in movie theater. It had two screens. One side was for Americans in English, and the second side, all the movies were in Spanish for the illegals. Although they didn't call them illegals, they called them fruit pickers. Everybody called them fruit pickers back then. That's not PC now. But so that was, I don't know, that was 40 years ago, and it was a way of life. So, for the past 50 or 60 years, this is really when Donald Trump talks about making America great again, and he talks about an economic boom like we had after the Second World War, this is it, okay? For the last 50 to 60 years, we have had illegals slowly taking over so many jobs. Yesterday I was talking about they're enforcing the English requirement for truck drivers. The illegals, it started that they were doing like menial stuff that people, doing the worst jobs at the construction sites. Like my stepfather who passed away years ago, his whole life he worked in the construction industry, and they sometimes would have illegals working on the construction sites. This is like 30 years, when I was a kid, 30, 35 years ago. And what they did was stuff that really was unskilled that people didn't want to do. Digging ditches was a big one. They would call them, they had these names which are not very politically correct. A Mexican backhoe. You know what a Mexican backhoe is? A illegal who's got a shovel and he's digging a ditch or picking up trash and stuff like that or on the job site. But what happened, that was 30, 35 years ago. What happened in recent years is they moved into the skilled labor, right? The welders, the carpenters, people like that, okay? The trucks were being driven by them. That's why this English only thing is being enforced for the first time. So it's not just menial labor, right? So this and this 1.7 million drop off of foreign-born workers is just March, April, May, June, and July. And I don't even know if that includes all of March. So just in 5 months, 1.7 million new jobs created for Americans or legal immigrants with proper documentation. This is going to be an ongoing thing. And these sectors of the economy that have had slave labor at slave wages for the last 50 years, they're going to have to raise their wages because they still will go out of business. They're going to need people to work, and they're going to have to either have legal immigrants with proper documentation or American workers. This is the biggest transformation that we have seen in any of our lifetimes with the labor market. It really, truly is. And it's all because of Donald Trump. So people that talk about different things in the economy, every illegal deported is a job created. And I'm sure you guys have seen this story that the Border Patrol, man, what if you are a high school senior this year, or you just graduated high school, or you're graduating college this year or something, join the Border Patrol, especially college. They're hiring tens of thousands. They're giving you a huge signing bonus and paying off your student loan debt. If you become a Border Patrol agent, they're going to pay off your student loan debt, give you a huge bonus. It's kind of like the GI Bill, but better, and it's for the Border Patrol. That is amazing what they're offering. And that's what we have. The Border Patrol really should be kind of like a branch of the military. And you want to recruit the best, and offering this, they're looking for college graduates, and they're offering to pay off your student loans. That's an incredible deal. So many jobs are being created by President Trump, and these are high-paying, skilled jobs. And if they're not high-paying now, they will be soon, because they're going to have to be. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We got so much more to cover. I'm Brian. It is the Steve Kane Radio Show. My pants, I forgot to wear a belt this morning. And I know you guys are saying, well, why do you wear a belt? My pants are falling off my body. I'm holding them up all morning here. This is ridiculous. I got to get a rope maybe, like Ellie Mae, and tie them together. They're falling down. And I forget to wear belts all the time because before I lost all this weight with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I have not had to wear belts for a long time. My waist was big enough just to hold the pants up without a belt. And in the mornings, a belt, I had belts, and basically I only wore belts on our cruises. We had to dress up fancy. But wearing a belt in the morning just is not a part of my morning routine. So a lot of times in the morning, I forget to put the belt on. And it's not until I leave the house that I realize my pants are falling down and I can't go back and get the belt. So I just hold them up all day with my hands in my pockets like I'm doing now. But yeah, and you can do the same, right? You can need belts again. You like that? Yeah, that's right. You want to need a belt again, don't you? Absolutely. Absolutely. Go, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call, and remember, they can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. 561-247-6300. Lose weight like I did, effortlessly, without exercise, without going hungry, eating foods you would normally eat, and without any prescription medications, injections, or pills, none of that stuff. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, stand by. See, now, I was talking a lot about, right now, the swamp is being drained coast to coast, right? What do we have? Adam Schiff is being investigated by the feds for mortgage fraud, hardcore mortgage fraud. This is a real thing. He's facing 30 years in prison, Adam Schiff. He is a creep. Letitia James facing mortgage fraud charges too, very similar crime. We've got the Pam Bondi grand jury with the Obama coup conspirators. And we got what's going on in Texas with the redistricting. And, I've been talking a lot today about how Republicans are standing up, governing like we're the majority now, which is what we've never had before. Look at this, what's going on in Texas. Ken Paxton's awesome. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton announces he will file to vacate runaway Democrat seats if they do not return by the State House Speaker's Friday deadline. See, now, yesterday, I saw it was live on television when the Texas Speaker adjourned and had a recess till Friday, and I know a lot of people, because I saw it on X, are upset about this. Oh, how can this be? How can this be allowed? They let them off the hook. No. What Ken Paxton is doing, and what Governor Greg Abbott is doing, and what the Republicans in Texas are doing, is doing everything by the letter of the law in a way that it'll hold up. So they have given these Democrats every opportunity to come back so they can get that quorum. And if they don't, they're going to remove them, and the governor's going to appoint replacements. And you know what? Those replacements, they ain't going to be Democrats. They're going to be Republicans. And for him to do that, the governor, for Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, to do this is amazing. And I know the Democrats keep talking about dictatorship and tyrants. No, this is what you do when you're in charge. When you guys were in charge, you were shooting our guy, and every other day you were arresting our guy. But we're the tyrants? Are you out of your minds? They're high. What Democrats are spoiled children. They're spoiled children who, for the very first time, are hearing from mommy and daddy, no. And like a 2-year-old you see at the grocery store, they can't get that candy bar that they want. They throw a fit, and we're not giving them the candy. No candy for you, Democrats. You're done. And everything that's going on in this country is why we voted. We've had majorities so many times, and the majority of the governors too. And we've never had it like this. Never. And it looks to be like a long-term thing. This is what it's going to be from now on, because those old school Republicans, establishment, the Weekly Standard Bush Republicans, most of them, not all, but most of them are out of power. And the people of this country, the Republican voting base, is going to expect this. Standing up to these jerks. The Democrats have been the minority in this country our whole lives. They've just been good at intimidating Republicans to caving to their will. We're the majority. And our belief system is where the majority of Americans not just are now, but have been for decades. But we've just had cowardly, weak, or corrupt Democrats. And good for Ken Paxton. Now, I want to play this clip. This is crazy to me. Now, remember all this is nuts, what I'm going to share. This is insane. Donald Trump was making fun of this liberal reporter during the first campaign, and the guy happened to have some type of disability. I don't remember what it is, beyond liberalism and Trump derangement syndrome, some other disability. And they said that President Trump was making fun of a man's disability, which was nonsense. He was making fun of a man who just happened to be disabled. He wasn't making fun of him for being disabled or making fun of his disability. But they've been running with that one for 10 years, right? I still hear that from time to time. The great governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, is in a wheelchair, you may have noticed. And he gets around pretty darn good in that wheelchair. I remember when he was running for governor, he was at a campaign event. He was wheeling himself back to his car in the parking lot, and this reporter was chasing him. This was crazy. And Greg Abbott's wheeling himself in his wheelchair to his car. The reporter is just throwing these questions, and he goes and he's answering them. But it was a nasty Democrat liberal reporter, And during this nasty questioning by the reporter, Greg Abbott opens his door, he puts himself in his car, folds up his wheelchair, puts it in the back seat the whole time. It was pretty cool, actually. He didn't miss a beat. And remember that time when Biden was vice president and he asked that guy Joe to stand up who couldn't walk? He says, everybody, Joe, stand up, Joe. Let's recognize Joe, my old friend. And then, oh, Joe can't stand, he's in a wheelchair. Then what he did, he was pretending to know the guy, Biden, and he didn't know him, but he was pretending to know him. If he'd have known him, he would have known he was confined to a wheelchair. So he asked this guy who's in a wheelchair to stand up. He couldn't stand up. So he was even Joe Biden, this is before he lost his mind, he was still vice president, and he was so embarrassed. So then what he says, hey, everybody else, he says, everybody else stand up for Joe. So he can see you do what he can't do. It was a really bad thing. It was a bad moment. But this is CNN yesterday talking about Greg Abbott, and this is her name's Casey Hunt. She used to be on MS-13BC, or as the president calls MS-DNC, but I like MS-13BC. I like that too. Don't you guys like MS-13BC? This is Casey Hunt making a very insensitive comment about the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott. Does the governor have a leg to stand on? He can't stand. Remember that sports writer that got fired because he was talking about a basketball player, and he was talking about, I don't want to say the word, I'll get in trouble, but he something in his armor, and the basketball player was Asian. Oh, you can't say that. He's Asian. He's Asian. It's racist. She just said that Greg Abbott doesn't have a leg to stand. He can't stand. Let me play a little bit more. Do you think she said this on purpose to make fun of his disability? I do. I think Casey Hunt on CNN, everybody knows Greg Abbott's in a wheelchair. I think she said this on purpose. Let's play it again. Oh my goodness. Okay, and the person she's talking to, he paused, he took a step back, he knows what Casey Hunt said and knows it was wrong. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Oh, now no one has a leg to stand on now. See, he's covering for Casey Hunt. No one has a leg to stand on now. Not just the guy in the wheelchair, Casey. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Where are the wheelchair advocates? Okay, I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. We had a new commercial that's just starting on the program with one of our longtime listeners, Bruce. He took advantage of that bonus, that signing bonus you get with a particular annuity with Joe Thomas. You know, there's two annuities that give you a bonus. One, you get a 10% bonus. You make 10% on your money before you leave Joe Thomas's office. And there's another one where you make even more than that. Joe's going to be on the show tomorrow. I'm going to talk to him about this. But, you know, how long would it take you in the stock market to have a guarantee of making 10% on your money? You might, if everything went well, you might make it in a year. Maybe. But with Joe Thomas at Annuities, you'll make 10% before you even get back to your car from his office. Give him a call. Turn your savings, turn your nest egg into guaranteed income for life and stop risking your money, all right? 561-743-0999. It's a free consultation. 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be back right after this. What do you guys think? Do you think Casey Hunt was making fun of his disability there? I think she was. I think she was. What do you guys think? If you're on hold, stand by, guys. We'll be back in less than a minute, everyone. Thirty seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Call us on hold. You stand by. You're welcome to call in about anything we brought up in the last 2 hours. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dave from Detroit. Good morning, Luffer Boy. As you beggars are all Luffer Boys.
I gotta ask you a question because I'm just curious, okay? And I know what that is. Why is it when you call in, right at the beginning of your call, you use some type of sexual perversion innuendo? Why can't you talk like a normal, respectful person? Why is it always with the perversions like that?
To get respect, you have to earn it, and you have yet to earn any respect.
Oh, from you. No, but that, I don't go around talking dirty to people. There's a lot of people I don't like. I don't go around making sexual innuendo, perverted comments to people that I don't like. That's just, it's kind of creepy.
Well, again, I gave you my explanation. Sorry.
Oh, because you're okay, so you're a creep. Okay, can you talk about something involving substance and not make any perverted references like that?
Oh, I can.
Well, will you?
Was just speaking. There was no ill intent towards the governor, unlike Trump that actually physically made fun of a reporter. This was metaphorically speaking. Can you discern the difference between the two?
So you don't think there's any? See how different you sound when you don't use perversions? You sound like a normal person. You're liberal, but you sound like a normal person. You should try it more. It makes you a better caller. You seem like an all right guy. You're just triggered.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. You got 2-3 sentences out without using perversion. So let's see how long it can last. But here's. Well, it's probably a bad habit you have, and habits are hard to break. But the thing that she said, okay, does the governor have a leg to stand on when he's confined to a wheelchair? I would agree with you. It's no big deal. We used to have when I worked at 940 Wins in Miami. Steve and I, we did mornings on 940 Wins in Miami. The overnight board op was 100% blind, completely blind, not legally blind, blind. and the entire radio station control room was in Braille. He was so blind, right? And he's a nice guy. I can't remember his name because it's been a long, long time. But I would come to work when he was ending his shift, and it was amazing how everything was in Braille. The computers, the control boards, the microphones, the studio, everything was in Braille because he was 100% blind, not colorblind, not legally blind. And we were gossiping one day, and he was gossiping about somebody that worked at the radio station in the office, and I didn't really know who he was talking about. The name didn't ring a bell. So I said to him, what do they look like? And he said, Brian, he says, I can't tell you what they look like because I've never seen them. And I was like, oh, I was really embarrassed. I said, oh man, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I felt like a jerk, right? And he says, Brian, he says, that's cool. That means you don't look at me as a blind person. You didn't even think about me being blind. You forgot. And I said, okay, that's cool. So I will give you that Casey Hunt on CNN, who's a liberal idiot, okay? She slipped. That's a common phrase that people say, not a leg to stand on, okay? She realized it as soon as she said it because there was a little hesitation after she said it. She's like, oh, man. And then the guy she was talking to tried to cover for her by saying nobody has a leg to stand on. However, okay, here's the thing. When Trump made fun of that reporter, he didn't know who the guy was or that he was disabled. He was talking about how he was crazed with his Trump derangement. It's like, oh, he was going nuts, like the blood out of the ears with Megyn. And they turned that into, I think he had like cerebral palsy or something. They turned that into him making fun of his actual illness. Democrats and Republicans, you slip and you say stuff, but Republicans have become some indictment against their entire life, and you guys on the left try to cancel them over it. Liberals make an embarrassing slip that they didn't mean to, and it's okay. There's a hardcore double standard. You would agree with that double standard, right?
No, there's no. Both sides want to cancel each other. The far right, the far left, they want to cancel each other.
No, I don't even recognize your voice now that you're like not using weird words and perversions. You're a good caller. What's your first name? I forgot. You're from Detroit, but our calls don't usually last this long. What's your first name again?
We'll go with Don.
Don. Okay, we'll go with Don. Okay, Don from Detroit. How about Dr. Detroit? Right, like Dan Aykroyd. But here's Dr. Detroit. But now we're friends. Here's the thing. Okay, I give you another example. In the first campaign, this one you'll remember this one. Okay. The one that Megyn Kelly was moderating on Fox, she lost her mind. Trump humiliated her over that Rosie O'Donnell thing. And afterwards, he gave an interview. He was on Don Lemon's show on CNN, and he was talking about Megyn Kelly freaking out. He said she was freaking out. She was bleeding out of the eyes. She was bleeding out of her ears. She was bleeding everywhere. And then the next day, the left go after Trump and says, oh, he means her menstrual cycle. And President Trump gave an interview. He says that's where their dirty mind goes. See, you guys have dirty minds and you project all these cancel culture things. Sometimes people just say stuff and they slip. And Casey Hunt on CNN, she slipped. She shouldn't be punished. But either should Trump have been punished for the grab 'em thing, which he didn't mean what you guys imply, the bleeding with Megyn, or the deranged reporter that they said he made fun of.
But you also make fun of Harris, calling her a drunk and
who? Who do we call a drunk? Who do we call a drunk?
Kamala Harris.
She is a drunk.
No, she's not.
She is. She's an. You see her all the time. She's hammered. She's kind of like one of those functioning alcoholics. She drinks wine out of a box or something, But yeah, she's got a drinking problem. But it's okay. But you know what? It's okay to make fun of people.
So Hegseth being a drunk is okay to say that.
No, Hegseth's not a drunk. He's had some moments where he's been partying. You've never partied. You never partied. You never partied and had too much to drink.
No.
Okay. Well, most you're like Trump. You see, you got something in common with Trump. Trump has never had alcohol because of his brother. Most men, at some point in their life, have partied too much and had too much to drink at a party. It doesn't mean you're an alcoholic.
Yeah, kind of is.
No. If you're a guy and you go to a party and you have too much to drink one night, does not mean you're an alk.
Yeah, that is one of the things of being an alcoholic, is not in control of what you
No. A lot of times when people are young and dumb or things like that.
You're not in control of it.
When have we seen Pete Hegseth intoxicated?
There's many.
When's the last time we saw him drunk? You ever see him drunk on TV? No. No, you might have been. No, you've never seen him drunk on television. And the only time you and I have seen him is on TV. So, Kamala Harris has been intoxicated on television. I saw her the other day backstage at some place somewhere. She was tanked. I've never seen Pete Hegseth intoxicated.
There is videos out there of him partying up pretty good.
It's okay to party. It's okay to party. It's okay to go to a party and have a few drinks. It's not okay to be doing public appearances and getting tanked.
He was at a public appearance. It was a public appearance when he was a Fox News host, and he was tanked off his, what.
It is okay to go to a party or be at a bar and have a few too many. It happens all the time. That does not mean you're an alcoholic. Have you ever been around a real alcoholic? I have.
Yeah.
Real alcoholics. Mike the board op. I have 1,001 board op stories. We had this board op at a station I worked at, a female board op. She was such an alcoholic. She was hiding whiskey in the production room, and she would go to drink her whiskey. During when the host was on the air and she was running the board, she'd hide. She didn't think anybody knew, but everybody knew she had whiskey hidden. That's an alcoholic. An alcoholic is not someone who occasionally goes to a party and once or twice has too much to drink.
There's many stages of alcoholism.
And Pete Hegseth, none of us have seen him intoxicated. Hey, listen, I know you went a long time without using perversions or profanities, Don from Detroit. Keep it up. You're a good caller.
Somebody has to hold up the show.
What? What'd you say?
Somebody has to give you some ratings.
I couldn't understand what you said. You were doing so well. What did you say?
I said somebody has to give you good help you get your ratings. It's great callers like me.
Oh, you make the show. You guys make the show. Oh, my God. So what were we doing before you started calling? This is the longest running radio show in Florida. Okay? So how did this show last to be the longest running radio show in the state of Florida before you were calling it? Think about that one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right, we'll take a break and be back. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Hey, good. Welcome back. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold. Stand by. Oh, my goodness. Don from Detroit did all right. I think it's hard for him to speak without using dirty words, but he tried. You got to give him that. He tried. Right? Exactly. He tried. Oh, my goodness. Welcome back. It is time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Brian, good morning. How are you?
Good. We haven't talked in a while.
I know it's been a little while.
Yeah.
And it's good to be back. Had a nice little vacation, and it kind of between that and something else inspired me as to what I wanted to talk about today. We often talk, of course, because what my firm and business is estate planning law, and so we talk about wills and trusts and protecting our assets and gaining peace of mind, and that is all important for sure. But also, it's really important to make sure that we're living our best lives, living every day like it's our last day.
Oh, yeah.
Seizing the day, as Robin Williams said in Dead Poets Society. I was watching a documentary about this woman who was in a situation where she thought she was going to pass, and where she was just thinking about all the things that she regretted not doing. So I for myself and every people listening, I just challenge you to really live your best day, and because we're not going to be here forever.
That's
and
for sure.
We need to really enjoy our lives and do the things we want to do. And of course, what we do is we help people with the planning so that everything runs smoothly and all of your wishes are handled properly from a legal standpoint and financial standpoint. But seize the day.
That's right, seize the day. And I'll tell you, Barry. I'm sorry about that. The phone's ringing off the hook here. Last time I saw you, I was at your workshop on Medicaid planning. And I know that's not what you're talking about today, but I got to tell you, next time you talk about it, you guys in the listening audience, listen up. That Medicaid planning, that seems to be a must-have for everyone who's not worth like $50 million. I mean, I was so blown away. That was the first time I went to your workshop that was just about the Medicaid planning. I've been to your regular workshop. You talk about the revocable living trust, and you talk a little bit about the Medicaid planning, but that one was just on the Medicaid planning. And I know maybe one person who would not qualify for it in my personal life. I was blown I was blown away by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case-by-case determination whether somebody can qualify or not. There's a lot of things to look at. But really the biggest issue with it is that people either A, don't know about it at all, or B, if they do, they automatically dismiss it and jump to the conclusion that they can't get it, which I'd say the people who do that, 80 to 90% of them are incorrect, that they could have qualified if they had just inquired.
That's right.
And we make it easy because people can come in for a free review of their long-term care situation, and we'll go over everything, and we can determine, number one, if they could qualify, and two, if there's anything they need to do now to make sure that they are in a position to qualify down the road should that time come.
Absolutely.
Or if there are people who are already at a point where they're receiving care or about to need care, then come in immediately. Why keep spending down your money when you could be protecting it? Yeah,
that's right. Listen, it's always, if you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program, it's a free in-office consultation. Take advantage of this. The number is toll-free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we will talk tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, we're back. If you're on hold, stand by. I got to give Don from Detroit credit, right? That guy's been calling for a while, a couple months. He's kind of new to the show. And one of our nastier callers, and he just says these out, like what he said at the beginning of that call. What he called me a name at the beginning of the call, which was radio safe, but it's a terrible thing to be, what he called me. If you heard that call and you don't know what it is, go Google it. You'll be like, oh my goodness, what a terrible thing to say to a guy. Yeah, it is. It is. But look, had a conversation with him, and boom, he was normal for a while. He was uncomfortable with it, but he was normal. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mark from Randolph. How you doing there, Brian?
All right, Mark, what's on your mind?
Hey, so as far as the reporter goes, I'm not really sure that she was mocking. I'll get it. No worries. I'm not sure that she was mocking Abbott more than Trump mocked that reporter. So I mean, you prefaced with what you're saying because you knew people were going to be like, oh, well, it's okay now because Trump said you can mock people.
Yeah.
He's okay with mocking people.
Yeah.
So I don't think that it was more, worse than what Trump did. I feel like he's normalized it. It's okay now.
No, she obviously slipped, and as soon as she said it, she's like, "Oh man, I'm in trouble." And then the other guy tried to cover for her by saying no one has a leg to stand on. He tried to make it sound like no big deal. Things, you say stuff, you forget, it's no big deal. But when a conservative says something like that, they go out to destroy your life.
Yeah, I know that this is what we're talking about, but I'm hoping you're going to cover a segment about prices.
About what?
Because what is this? This is nothing.
About
prices,
what?
Man, groceries are going up. Prices.
Prices.
Food prices and gas prices.
I would say no. I went to the grocery store. I don't physically go to the grocery store too much because we do the Instacart mostly, my wife and I. But I was surprised at how low the prices. Eggs were under $2 a dozen. They were like $6, $7 a few months ago. And some of the things we got. My wife, she ordered DoorDash the other day. We have our regular staples, and a lot of the things we normally buy are $2 less, $1 less, $3 less. I'm seeing prices down on all kinds of things at the grocery store. I love apples. I eat a lot of apples. Apple prices, oh my goodness! A few months ago, it cost me like $8 to buy a few apples. They've dropped a few bucks now. I'm seeing reductions at the grocery store. I don't know where you're shopping.
Walmart in New York. I mean.
Well, I'm not in New York. I mean, you got a lot of. I don't know, but I know here in Florida, I'm seeing price drop store wide.
I mean, you see it online though. Everyone's like comparing prices to just 6 months ago, and everything's out of control. Like me and my wife did the price comparison from. I mean, it was even like just January, and we're spending like $70 more on the same 20 items
than you were 6 months ago. What are you paying more for today than you were when Trump was first in office? What's gone up specifically?
Toilet paper's gone up.
Toilet paper.
Paper towels have gone up.
I haven't noticed that.
Do you use toilet? You don't toilet?
Yeah, I know. Yes, well, everybody.
Toilet paper?
No, I don't. I use newspaper. Okay. I use newspaper. Right.
No, that's up. Even like things like macaroni are up.
I don't know.
Goods are up.
What I know. Listen. Everybody has their regular things. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I get maybe not everybody, but I know in my life, my whole life, I pretty much buy the same stuff every week because we'll have our favorite things. And I've noticed prices going down $1 to $2 on a lot of things. Okay, and I have. Once President Trump said this even before the election, though. It's hard to make prices come down. Once they're up, it's hard to bring them down, and it's slower to come down than they are to go up. But I'm seeing prices down, and so far as gasoline prices in New York, part of the problem you have is how many. You got a lot of taxes. On the gas up there, but I'm seeing the prices go down store wide. One of the things I love. I'm a big. I know this sounds stupid. I love Twizzlers. You know Twizzlers? I love Twizzlers, and I buy I buy like the jumbo size of the Twizzlers, and they don't last very long. I tell you because I love Twizzlers. And those have gone down a little bit. I wasn't buying Twizzlers a few months ago because I went to the store. They were too much money, and they've even dropped $1.50 or something for the super big pack I get. It's not like everything's gone down $5, but if everything goes down $1 or $2, or in some instances like eggs, a lot more, it adds up.
I never blamed Trump for the whole egg thing. That was always like hilarious when people were like, oh. You did the egg thing, whatever. It was just influenza, for influenza.
Yeah, but egg prices are in so many different products that it'll bring the prices down on many items in the store just based on that. But no, listen. Prices haven't dropped 40% or anything on everything. Egg prices have dropped like 80 to 90%. Okay, but when things are dropping $1, $2. $2.50 each. That's a pretty hefty percentage that things are dropping in prices.
Do you think it's permanent? Or you think it's...
As long as Trump's in office, yeah. As long as Trump's in office, yeah.
Well, the migrant workers, I know they're illegal and everything like that, but they did work for a lot less. So now farmers are going to have to pay people more. Prices are going to have to go up somewhere. I mean, the farmers don't should eat that cost, right?
They may make less profit because there's a lot of choices out there. You know, a lot of people are growing tomatoes, not just one guy, one company.
But like for instance, like oil prices right now, the $70 a barrel. If they could bring prices down to like $2 a gallon.
I was paying. Listen, before Trump came into office, I was paying $3 or more a gallon. I bought gas yesterday for $2.60.
Yeah, $3.50 here.
Well, you got those. You're in a blue state, man. I'm in Florida. You've got Democrats up there that are taxing you to death. So what you're dealing with is, a lot of taxation problems too. But how's it going to help when Jogn starts nationalizing the grocery stores in New York City? Right? Has the government taken over?
I'm more near Buffalo than anything. That Jogn guy, I hope he doesn't get in. But
I know. Hey, listen, it's good to talk. I appreciate it. I know grocery prices are still higher than they used to be a long time ago, but they have dropped in the last 5 months. There's no doubt about it. And I think most people out there would agree with that. Hold on a second here. I got, let me see, what do I got to do here? Oh, yes. Since we're talking about food, let's talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Coastal Weight Loss Secret, when I first went over there and I wanted to lose 25 pounds because we had the cruise coming up, and I lost over 35 pounds, which is awesome. I really didn't realize how much weight I had gained. When you gain weight, you gain it slowly, and you see yourself every day when you're brushing your teeth in the mirror, and you gain weight slowly. And then when I started losing weight, and I saw pictures of me, I started Coastal Weight Loss Secret the Monday after Inauguration Day. Remember, we were at Wings Plus, and I was going out of town that week, so I started the Monday after, and I remember it clearly because of the Inauguration Day. And I look at myself in pictures that you guys took with me at Wings Plus compared to now, it's another person. I'm embarrassed by those pictures. I had no idea how much weight I had gained until I saw those pictures of me after I lost all this weight, thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And I went back, I talk oftentimes about this documentary I made about where I walked the steps of the Trump assassin at the golf course here in Florida. I start the video where the assassin was and end where he was arrested and go through his escape route. And I saw that video a couple weeks ago. It was another person. I don't even recognize myself as me in that video compared to now. I've lost so much weight. And I lost the weight in all the places I want. My stomach's flat. That's why my pants keep falling off without the belt. I lost it in my neck and face, and I got my chin and definition back, square jaw back. And most people, they tell me, of course, I hear people, wow, you have lost a lot of weight. And the other thing I hear a lot from people is, you look a lot younger. It's de-aged you. Yeah, I hear that too. It's great. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. And remember, they can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. Here's the number, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlasssecret.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take some more calls after the break. Back in about 45 seconds, a little less than that. Some good calls today, I must say, good calls. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Let's go back to, we had some pretty good calls today, I must say. It's nice talking to some people that have an intellect, like that last guy. He was really, groceries are tough. It's a lot easier now that my daughter's grown, right? When you have a kid at home, it's a much different thing. And, when your kid's grown up, it's, the biggest tip I give people when it comes to the grocery prices is to do the Instacart. And Instacart, they charge a little bit more for the items, but we save a lot because you only get what's on the list. And me, I don't need Twizzlers every time I go to the store. But if I go, I'm going to buy Twizzlers and I'm going to buy, salt and vinegar potato chips and you know what I mean. You don't do any impulse buying when you do the Instacart. So while they charge a little bit more per item, we're still saving a lot of money. All right, let's go to the phones. There's only one opening on the board at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brad. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ, what's up?
This is kind of the stoking fear and making friends with Brian Craig on the Steve Kane Show.
Yeah, that's right.
Incel hump. It's kind of like Incel Hump Day.
Oh, you've been listening for 2.5 hours. That's good. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I got, listen, the one guy.
Hold on one second here. I'm answering all these lines. Go ahead. The one guy what?
The one guy from, the guy from San Diego was Bob. As soon as he started talking, I'm like, it was like a skit comes into my mind because the guy was crazy. I'm thinking, what about Bob? And then he's from San Diego. I'm thinking, you stay classy, San Diego. And I'm just like, don't be Bob.
Which one was he? Which was he the guy about the on hold music? What was he talking about?
He was very beginning.
He was the be a man guy. He was the be a man guy.
Yes.
Yeah, be a man.
You got to be a man.
Be a man.
Yeah, you don't talk about this. You don't talk about that. You go right to personal attack. All that. Anyway, he was a little. I think the guy was off his meds. He sounded a little crazy.
Well, first of all, first of all, when it comes to the callers, you guys call me. I don't call you. You guys know what I'm about and how I operate. I mean, don't complain. You know what I mean? If I'm calling you at work, then you can complain.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Detroit was it Dawn or whatever? That was a good call. And the last guy, you got 2 out of 3 really good. I mean, the last guy. I mean, you ended up having a conversation, and it was productive, and it was good to see that work. You know,
Yes.
I was watching you. It was do your thing, and getting to prices though. Richie had brought up coffee the other day, and I was just gonna let people know a lot of things that are priced aren't priced off of what's happening now. They're priced off of 6 months ago or last year.
Yeah.
And that's with coffee. Those contracts go back to when Biden was president, or wasn't president when the pen was president. But then there are other things, obviously, simple economic stuff.
Well, it's who I talk about this a lot, Mike at Friendly Tire. When gas, because gas prices are going, his prices are pretty low. I mean, $75 for new tires out the door and on the roads on common tires. It's a pretty good deal. But when gas prices drop, I was like, oh, the tires going down? He says it takes about 6 months for a drop in gas prices to bring the tire price down. It takes that long to get the petroleum into the tire and to market.
Yeah, and same with, I mean, the one gentleman he's talking about, I think he said it was from New York, and the prices, I mean, paper products, there's so many different things that can affect. But overall, oil, I mean, the WTI, which is that's one of the benchmarks, West Texas Intermediate, that was, from what I remember reading last, it was down 10% on average.
Well, the thing with the
barrels, it's down.
Well, the toilet paper, just to mention that, we had the toilet paper panic of 2020. And, and the reason that happened is people did panic buying of toilet paper. And I was shocked to learn there's only a couple of paper factories that make toilet paper. And there's so many varieties of it that they couldn't keep up.
It's different, but the product comes from the same, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's different, like 4-ply, 2-ply, this color, that color, fancy stuff, Vaseline and some of it. I don't know, some weird stuff. But there's only a handful of plants that make all the toilet paper, regardless of the color, the ply, the style, and the packaging. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons it took so long. But mainly, I see prices at the grocery store coming down. I do. I mean, that's
Well, you also look at. I mean, you look at what the drop off was. What 1.7 million? I think you said the foreign. Those are basically illegals, going home, and the money that they have. I mean, they make that money. A lot of that money, they send it out of the country.
Oh, yeah.
Those jobs going back to citizens. That money's going to stay within our country, and it's just going to be. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Stimulate our economy, not theirs.
1.7 million illegals taken out of the workforce in the last 5 months. That's 1.7 million new American jobs. All right, JJ, appreciate the call. I appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Jack. I'm here to kind of hopefully spice things up for the radio show today. It doesn't seem
I doubt that. It doesn't seem the distractions are what? It doesn't seem like the distractions are working on me today? Is that what you're saying?
No, the distractions from other important news doesn't seem to be working well.
Oh, no. One of your favorite stories, Bill and Hillary Clinton got depositions in the Epstein case by Congress. You should be excited.
Whoop-de-doo. I
No.
don't think anything's going to...
Okay. All of a sudden, you're not interested in Epstein. Okay.
Brian, I'm not... Oh, you brought up Epstein? Why did you bring up Epstein? I thought you're not allowed to.
I can talk about whatever I want. You're not allowed to. What'd you call about today? I'm getting bored with you. Why'd you call today?
You're getting bored with me?
I have a full board of calls, and you're not saying anything.
You brought up Epstein.
I made a reference. I made a reference.
You made a reference to Epstein.
But before you called, you had something on your mind that inspired you to call, or did you just want to hear your voice on the show?
What inspired me to call was the fact that your distraction is not working, and I wanted to bring that up to you. It's not working.
What is my distraction, and what am I distracting from?
Every single day, it gets worse and worse
What?
for Donald Trump.
What are you talking about?
In reference to what you just brought up. And I'm not going to bring it up because
maybe we should we also be covering the Lindbergh kidnapping? Or maybe talk about the Rosenbergs or something. I mean, this is not a crime history program, right? If this was a history program about crime, Epstein would be relevant. All right, appreciate the call. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Wellington.
Yes.
Top of the morning to you.
Oh, Liberal Al. Long time no hear.
I'm going to quote.
Not long enough.
I'm going to quote Cash Patel. When are the Republicans going to put on their big boy pants and get that pedophile in the White House? I mean, Cash Patel did say that, right?
No, I've never heard him say that. In the White House? No, I've never heard him say that.
Well, he didn't say the White House, but...
Oh, so he didn't say... Okay, so you're quoting him, but then you say that's not what he said. What's the matter with you, Al? You okay?
I'm quoting him, but...
You're quoting him, but you said he didn't say... You said he didn't say that. So if he didn't say that, you didn't quote him, you made something up.
He was telling all Republicans to put their big boy pants on and
yeah.
The pedophiles. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Anyway,
my goodness, pathetic. He
you know,
used to be a good caller.
Alley.
Used to be. You mean
Let's talk about Alligator Alley.
Alligator Alley? The road? You want to talk about the road, Alligator Alley?
No, Alcatraz.
Oh, Alligator Alcatraz. Okay.
Yeah. There's 700 people incarcerated. Out of the 700, 250 have no police record whatsoever.
They do now.
No charges whatsoever.
They do now.
They're rounding up innocent people without due cause, and you don't care.
Without due cause? You're getting your talking points messed up. You mean due process? Or due cause? Both. Okay, both. Okay. No, they do have a record now. It's a federal record. They're federal fugitives, and they've been apprehended.
Yeah, they're not fugitives.
Well, they're not now. They're on Alligator Alcatraz, which is not on Alligator Alley, but they're on Alligator Alcatraz, so they're no longer fugitives. They're incarcerated. They're incarcerated now.
Somebody's working here 20 years, and they have a work permit, just like out in Ohio when they were...
What? How many times have you heard a story in your life that they arrest some guy who's 96 years old, retired in Ohio or someplace like that, and he was a concentration camp guard when he was 18? They don't say, well, he's been in America in a long time now and he's on Social Security. They send him off to Europe to try him for war crimes.
So you're equating these people with Nazi war criminals?
No, what I'm telling you is that just because you gotten away with it for a certain amount of time doesn't mean you're pardoned.
Well, you know...
What you're really saying is there's some of these people, they've been on the lam for 20 years hiding out from law enforcement, and they ain't got them. So they should be allowed to go free now. Since when? Give me a break.
If somebody's been working in this country an honest job for 20 years, which many cases that's the case, they don't belong incarcerated.
Sure, they're how are they working here? They're illegal. Are they committing identity theft?
They pay taxes.
They don't pay income taxes. They don't pay income taxes.
Yes, they do.
How do you pay income taxes without documentation? Sales tax don't count.
Whether you're documented or not, okay, they're taking when they get paid, they're taking taxes out
On a false Social Security number. Yeah, they're identity thieves. It's the cost of doing. It's like people that do counterfeit. They don't get face value. They get like 20%, at least in the movies. That's the cost of doing business.
Well,
so they.
Alcatraz, it's not filled with people that are identity thieves. Okay, you don't understand.
Sure. If you're an illegal and you got a job and you're getting payroll deductions, that means you have a fake Social Security number. You are committing identity theft, possibly, if it's someone else's Social Security number. All right, take care. Oh my goodness. He didn't think that one through, did he? I want to tell everyone real quick, great deal going on at MyPillow.com on the My Slippers. The MyPillow My Slippers, which are the most comfortable slippers you've ever... you put your feet in your My Slippers and all your worries just fade away. It's like having two My Pillows, one on each foot. It's just amazing. The regular price for the My Slippers is $149.98. 2 cents short of $150. That's how much I paid for mine. Right now, with our promo code Kane at checkout, you can get them for just $39.98. That's a $110 savings. Now, this MyPillow slipper sale, $110 off, is only for our listeners. Okay, so there's 2 ways to do it. One, you can go to our private MyPillow website, mypillow.com/Kane, mypillow.com/Kane, and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and get $110 off your MyPillow My Slippers. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. Order yours now at these prices. You want to order before they run out of your size. We'll be right back. Hey, wait, hold on. We are back, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Well, the metal's still very stable in our typical trading ranges, with the exception of platinum and palladium, which have sold off a little bit, more so on the palladium side. Gold yesterday trading in a range of $3,349 on the low to $3,391 on the highs, and closing out today up $6.10 at $3,379.40 the ounce. Silver was up 38 cents, closing out today at $37.73. Platinum lost $12, closing out today at $1,317, and palladium lost $12 at $1,175. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $33.57 on the low and $33.86 on the high, and right now we're at $3,363 per ounce for gold. That's down $16.40. Silver down 8 cents at $37.65. Platinum up $3 at $1,320. And palladium down $25 at $1,150. So again, market's mostly stable and pretty much in the same trading ranges they've been in for quite a while. Small pullbacks giving us opportunities to pick up some metal at cheaper prices, but it looks like a good time to be accumulating.
Absolutely. You know, yesterday, I meant to ask you a question yesterday because you were talking about gold and silver bars, how popular they are right now. But not all bars are equal. I mean, there's the bars you sell are the bars people want, okay? And that's important to get the right ones. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we sell bars that are all top brands that are LBMA approved bars for delivery, which is the London Metals Exchange and stuff. And so these are only the top brand bars that are accepted worldwide as far as investment and stuff is concerned. So especially the 100-ounce bars, which is what you have to be more concerned about. The 100-ounce bars we have are top brands, and we're selling them for Steve Kane listeners. You can buy 100-ounce bars of silver from us for as little as $1 over and even 50 cents over spot.
Really?
In larger quantities. So
wow.
The premiums are very low. The opportunity to buy them percentage-wise, the premiums on all of the precious metals are the lowest they've ever been.
That's amazing. Listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Stop in. Remember, all these metals that William Youngerman talks about are available for immediate delivery. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Give him a call, toll-free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. 5010, and find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. You know, I told Barry Siegel we'll finish out the week tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Barry must think I've lost my mind, but that's okay. It happens. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie. It's hard to get you today.
Well, I know. It happens.
Things happen. Hey, listen, I wanted to talk about what you brought up early in the show, the gerrymandering, that the Democrats are so used to playing games like clown show. You know that it's all about representation in Texas, and they're saying that this is Trump wanting to get more seats.
Yes.
Well,
yes, we are going to get more seats for Republicans. That's what you're supposed to do when you're in majority.
Yeah, in Massachusetts, folks, President Trump, that's the liberal state of Massachusetts, President Trump got 1/3 of the votes in the presidential election. They have 2 senators that are Democratic, and you know how many congressmen we have in the Senate from Massachusetts?
How many?
0.
0, not one?
We don't have 1.
Oh, my goodness.
Not 1.
Well, how many House members do they have? It's a tiny state. How many House members do they have?
I don't know, but we don't have any Republicans, and that's the fact. And
well,
what
they normally do is intimidate Republicans to carve out minority districts. In some of these districts, it's like a game of connect the dots from black house to black house hold, okay? Yeah. And they have these districts that cover the entire state, but are only like the width of a one lot, so they can get black districts or a gay district or such and such. The party in power always redistricts to benefit their party. That's why that's one of the main reasons you want the majority in your state elections, in your state legislature. That's one of the benefits. Remember when Schumer and Pelosi in the first term said, elections have consequences, Mr. President. You're sure right they do. And the Democrats are learning that in Texas.
Not just Texas, Brian. They flooded our country with all these illegal people. That's in the census. And they're trying to say, well, we have to wait 10 years for the census.
Nope.
Because they want all these extra Democrats.
That's right.
This is so disgusting.
Well, the problem is the last census that was done when Trump was president, and he was trying to get people not counted that were illegal for congressional representation, and he didn't have enough time to get it through. Which we probably will next time. But what they're doing now with this redistricting in Texas, which is going to be the model nationwide, is to make up for the census failures with the redistricting.
Yeah. The other thing I'm really outraged about, and this has to do with Congress, okay, and the Democratic Congress. You got Omar. Are you Democrats proud of her? She represents Somalia, not America first.
That's right.
And now you got this woman from Illinois that says that she's from El Salvador, and El Salvador comes first over the United States.
That's right.
And she's an American congresswoman.
Yeah, well,
she's disgusting.
But she is, and you're right. She said it in Spanish. We're not supposed to hear that. We're not supposed to know that. She said it in Spanish, not English. She didn't think the public would hear it.
Can you imagine this?
No.
Imagine this is what we got in there.
This like you and I, neither of us are native Floridians. But you're from New York, I'm from Ohio, but we've been here most of our life. We consider ourselves Floridians. Right. I don't call myself a Buckeye. You don't call yourself a New Yorker. We might say we're from there, but we're Floridians. And this is the problem. We're being colonized, man. And they're getting in our government, whether it's Zohan in New York or this El Salvadorian or Ilhan Omar. We're being colonized. I appreciate the call, Richie.
Well,
all right, I'm running short on time, but tomorrow I'll give you more time. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to tell everyone about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's. This is a limited time offer, guys. Take advantage of it while it is here. Slomin's is going to give you a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone. It will change your life. All these door dashing and Instacarts I do, get a notification every time they pull up in front of the house. But you get your free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Give them a call right now, no matter where you are. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Cynthia calling from Lake Worth Beach.
Hey, what's up?
I wanted to comment, Brian, on the ignoramus from Detroit.
Oh, yes.
Who was calling Hegseth a
drunk.
A drunk. Well, maybe he should go back to high school in Detroit and learn about the man who saved the world, who was a known drunk named Churchill.
Yes.
And he was good friends with another drunk named FDR.
That's true.
So the ignoramus in Detroit, I hope he's listening,
Well,
because it was painful.
Let me tell you, the only person I know, the only grown man I know that's never had a drink too many is Donald Trump, who's never had a drink because his brother, you know, his brother was like Nick Cage in Leaving Las Vegas. He killed himself from drinking. And but every guy, that does not make you an alcoholic because you go to a party. Yeah, you know, hey, listen, I've had a few too many on a couple of our cruises. I'm not an alk, you know, but I just, you know, sometimes when the drinks are included, it's hard to control yourself sometimes.
Well, absolutely, and even young girls have their nights. I mean, this man
Yes.
was painful to listen to. Brian, he was that dumb.
Yes.
And if this is a reflection on Americans, and thank God we're doing something about the educational system in this country, because it's embarrassing.
I would argue though that you know you mentioned girls. It's so important for girls not to drink at all. You know, there was another college girl who was just murdered a couple weeks ago. She was walking home from a bar drunk. You know, the troubles that young girls run into, almost all of it is because they're drunk, and these predators, they hang out at bars and things waiting for a drunk girl to leave on her own. And, you know, women should not be drinking. They just shouldn't.
No, absolutely. But it was just stupid. I hope he's listening, this moron. It was painful to listen to.
Yes.
So I just wanted to add that. Churchill, the greatest.
The drunk,
that
yes.
saved the world.
All right, appreciate the call. All right, you made some good points from Lake Worth. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
John Okeechobee.
Hey, John.
About the immigrants and the...
You got 30 seconds, John. You've got 30 seconds. We're almost out of time. Yeah, we're almost out of time.
I have a friend who went through the 1986 amnesty program, became a Republican and a citizen. He owns a company. If they want workers, he has verified legal workers.
That's great. Listen, we're out of time, John, but call me tomorrow. You can tell me more. I apologize. But that's a good story. You know, immigrant made good. All right. Well, that's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 glorious years on the radio. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, we're out. Great calls today, guys. I mean, you know, I really appreciate it. If you're new to the program, make sure that you subscribe, all right, please, and like the video and share on your socials if you don't mind. That all helps grow the community, and I very much appreciate all of your support. If you didn't catch my new podcast episode here on the channel yesterday, go check it out, The Spy in the Trump Cabinet. It's a pretty good show. You won't want to miss it, all right? Take care. Thanks for watching. I'm Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care.